A Danish home doesn't look expensive because it costs more. It looks expensive because almost nothing in it was bought on impulse in a set, or because it was on sale. 7 specific things a Nordic home essentially never buys. And once you see the pattern connecting all 7, you'll understand exactly why the effect reads as expensive, even in homes that cost far less than yours. Number 3 is the one that quietly costs people the most money over a lifetime without them ever noticing. And number 6 is the habit that single-handedly prevents most of the clutter everyone else in this niche talks about removing later. Quick note before we start. What follows is built from real, documented Nordic design and consumption habits, filtered through my own professional experience, my interpretation of it, offered for education and entertainment, not financial advice. I'm Freya Holm, an interior designer from Copenhagen who spent 8 years organizing homes for urban families, and this pattern showed up constantly. The homes that felt the most put together were almost never the ones that had spent the most. They were the ones where every purchase had passed the same handful of invisible filters before it ever came through the door. Here's the thread running through all 7. A Nordic home isn't expensive looking because of what's in it. It's expensive looking because of what was never let in. The discount impulse buy, the matching set, the decor bought purely because a room felt unfinished. Remove those 7 categories, and what's left almost automatically reads as intentional, because everything remaining actually had to earn its place. If this is already making you rethink your last few purchases, go ahead and hit like and subscribe if you're new here. This channel exists to hand you the real system behind Nordic living, and it genuinely helps to have you here for the rest of it. Let's start with number 1. The habit that quietly shapes almost everything else on this list. Item 1. Matching furniture sets, bought all at once from a single collection. The 3-piece sofa set, the bedroom set with the headboard, nightstands, and dresser all from the same line, purchased in a single trip. I did this myself in my first real apartment. An entire living room set bought together because it was easier than choosing pieces individually, and because the showroom made it look effortlessly coordinated. Here's what I didn't understand yet. A room furnished all at once from one collection tends to look like a showroom, not a home, because nothing in it was chosen slowly enough to actually reflect a real decision. Danish homes build furniture collections over years, not afternoons, mixing pieces from different sources, different decades sometimes, each one chosen on its own terms. The shift: buy one piece at a time, and let a room take longer to finish than a single shopping trip ever could. Item 2. Decor bought purely because a room felt unfinished, with no specific function behind it. The extra vase, the decorative object that fills a shelf because the shelf looked empty, not because the object itself meant anything. I've walked into homes with shelves full of these, individually fine, collectively saying nothing, because none of them were chosen for a reason beyond filling space. The shift: leave the shelf empty rather than filling it with something that doesn't actually mean anything to you. An empty shelf reads as more intentional than a full one stocked with filler. Item 3. The one I promised, and it's the one that quietly costs the most over time. The deep discount impulse buy, 70% off, a price too good to pass up. Purchased in the moment without checking whether it was actually well made or whether you needed it at all. I've done this more times than I'd like to admit. A bargain side table that wobbled within a year. A discounted lamp with a cord that frayed within months. Individually, each purchase feels like a win. Across a decade, the math tells a different story. A handful of $40 pieces replaced every year or two adds up to significantly more than one well-made piece bought once. And you're left with nothing to show for it at the end besides landfill. The shift: run every discount through one question before buying. Would I choose this at full price, on its own merits, or am I only interested because of the number on the tag? Item 4. Duplicate just-in-case items for the home. A second set of dishes stored away, an extra lamp in a closet, a spare version of something you already own and use just fine. I used to keep a second full set of bath towels, unopened, for emergencies, for years, taking up an entire shelf that could have held something I actually needed. The shift: one good version of each category, used until it's genuinely worn out, replaced when it actually needs replacing, not stockpiled in advance against a scenario that rarely arrives. Item 5. Flat pack. Disposable quality furniture bought as a temporary solution. The bookshelf you'll upgrade eventually. The desk meant to last a year until you get something better. The problem isn't buying affordable furniture. Plenty of well-made pieces cost very little. It's buying something specifically expecting to replace it soon, which almost guarantees you'll buy the same category of item twice or 3 times over the years. Paying for temporary repeatedly instead of paying once for something meant to last. The shift: even on a tight budget, prioritize one well-made piece over a cheaper one you already expect to discard. Item 6. The one I promised. The habit that quietly prevents most of the clutter everyone else in this space talks about removing later. Never buying storage or organizational products before decluttering first. Bins, baskets, drawer dividers, purchased in an optimistic burst before actually sorting through what you own. I did this constantly early in my career, buying beautiful storage for a closet I hadn't actually gone through yet, which meant I was just organizing clutter more attractively instead of removing it. The bins themselves become clutter, holding things that should have been let go in the first place. The shift: sort and remove first, always. Then buy only the storage that fits what's actually left. Buying storage before decluttering guarantees you'll need to buy more storage again later. And item 7, the one that ties everything together. Buying something purely to keep up with a trend cycle, the color, the shape, the specific item that was everywhere on social media for one season and will look dated within 2. Danish homes lean toward a narrow, durable palette and design language precisely because trend chasing guarantees a home that needs constant refreshing, purchase after purchase, just to avoid feeling out of date. The shift: before buying anything trend-driven, ask whether you'd still want it in 5 years, once the specific moment that made it popular has completely passed. Here's what connects all 7. None of them are really about spending less. They're about spending once, deliberately, instead of repeatedly, accidentally. A discount impulse buy, a matching set, a trend piece, a duplicate you didn't need. Each one feels like a small, harmless decision in the moment. Stacked over years, they're the actual reason so many homes feel cluttered and unfinished, despite spending constantly, while a Nordic home, often furnished more slowly and for less overall, ends up looking more intentional simply because almost nothing in it was let in by accident. I think about my own first apartment often when this topic comes up. That matching furniture set, the discount lamp with the cord that frayed within a year, the bins I bought before I'd sorted through a single drawer. None of those purchases were dramatic mistakes. They just quietly cost more over time than doing it slower ever would have. Tell me in the comments which of these 7 you're most guilty of. I'd guess for a lot of you, it's the discount impulse buy. I read every single comment. And if you know someone whose home always seems to need one more thing to finally feel finished, send this to them. Sometimes the fix isn't buying better, it's buying less and buying it on purpose. I know the most common objection to this list because I lived it myself. I just moved. I need furniture now. I don't have years to slowly curate a living room. That's completely fair, and I don't want this list to sound like advice only available to people with unlimited time and patience. The distinction isn't speed, it's intention. You can furnish a room quickly and still avoid all 7 of these. Buy the essentials you genuinely need immediately, one piece at a time, even if that at a time happens within the same week, rather than a single matching set purchased together because it's easier. A fast furnishing process and an intentional one aren't actually in conflict. What creates the showroom effect isn't speed, it's uniformity. Everything from one collection, chosen together rather than each piece considered on its own, even quickly. For anyone on a genuinely tight budget, I want to address something directly, because I think this list can sound like it assumes everyone can afford to buy expensive, long-lasting pieces outright. That's not the actual argument. Item 5 isn't spend more. It's don't buy something you already expect to replace. A secondhand piece, chosen carefully, often passes every filter on this list better than something new and cheaply made bought as a placeholder. Danish homes lean heavily on secondhand and inherited furniture specifically because a well-made piece from decades ago frequently outlasts anything currently on a discount shelf at a fraction of the cost. If budget is tight, second-hand but well-made beats new but disposable almost every time. I also want to be honest about something I got wrong for years, because I think it matters more than any individual item on this list. I used to believe a home needed to look finished relatively quickly after moving in, and that belief alone drove most of my worst purchasing decisions. The matching set, the filler decor, the discount lamp bought in a rush, specifically because an empty corner felt uncomfortable to look at. It took me a genuinely long time to get comfortable with a room looking sparse, even slightly unfinished, for months at a time, while I waited for the right piece instead of settling for an available one. That discomfort with an empty corner is, I think, the actual engine behind most of these 7 purchasing mistakes. Not lack of taste, not lack of money, just an unwillingness to sit with incompleteness a little longer than feels comfortable. Here's a simple, practical test you can actually use before your next purchase. Pulling all 7 items into one 2-question check. First, Am I buying this because I need it, or because the space currently feels incomplete without something in it? If the honest answer is the second one, wait. An empty corner is rarely as uncomfortable in a week as it feels today. Second, would I still choose this exact item if it weren't on sale, weren't part of a set, and weren't currently trending? If the answer is no to any of those conditions, you're not actually choosing the item. You're responding to the condition around it. And that's precisely how items 3, 1, and 7 quietly work their way into a home. I want to leave you with something I think matters more than the 7 items themselves. None of this is about deprivation, and it was never about having less for its own sake. It's about the difference between a home that accumulated slowly, deliberately, one real decision at a time, and one that filled up quickly with things that each made sense individually, but never actually added up to anything coherent. A Nordic home doesn't look expensive, because every piece in it cost a fortune. It looks expensive because every piece in it was actually chosen on its own terms by someone willing to let a room stay a little empty rather than fill it with the wrong thing just to make the emptiness go away.